You. Hi, this is Rex Chen on behalf of China News Service, and today very honored to invite Mr. Marcelo Vivacqua. He is the head of the Brazil-China Cooperation Hub and the director of IFIA LATAM. Hi,
Hello, good morning. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
thank you so much for joining us. And here comes my first question. Actually, China has made many technological innovations in recent years. So, what innovations in China have caught your attention most? And were there any innovation that surprised you?
So there are many of them. Was a very difficult to select some of them, but I could say some China's advancement in artificial intelligence, for example, how I ascend AI chips, which have been challenging NVIDIA, quantum computing created by Zhuzhou 3.0, and EVs, the BID sodium ion batteries is very impressive. In Brazil, we are receiving a lot of these BID vehicles. They are standout. The rapid scaling of commercial drone delivery networks, for example, GED.com, was surprising, really, and demonstrating that China has a great ability to integrate tech into daily life faster than anticipated. It's very interesting how Chinese people have been able to take advantage of this high tech.
Okay, thank you. And before, Brazilian president has pledged to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. And it's such a coincidence that China has also set clear goals for carbon peak by 2030 and also carbon neutrality by 2060. Therefore, the two countries, China and Brazil, they share common objectives and interests in addressing global climate change. And we know that the COP30 will be held this year in Brazil. So how do you think Brazil's bioenergy technology and China's renewable energy manufacturing sector can achieve such deep collaboration?
So I see many opportunities for synergy cooperation between Brazil and China, and of course the BRICS countries as well. For example, Brazil's bioenergy, example, sugarcane, ethanol, biomass tech, plus China solar wind manufacturing joint venture to produce biofuels using Chinese electrolyzers, hydrogen tech could decarbonize heavy industries. This is one point, one possibility. Another one regarding the COP opportunity, COP30 opportunity, co-develop a BRICS Green Tech Fund to finance projects like Amazon-based solar bioenergy, hybrid grids, leveraging China's supply chain and Brazil's feedstock. And finally, carbon market linkage. Align Brazil's nascent carbon trading system with China's national ETs to attract cross-border offsets. As I said before, and as you mentioned, the COP30 will be a great opportunity for China, Brazil, and the other BRICS countries to connect to each other and to find opportunities to work together.
Okay, thank you. And last month, I read the news that the International Electrotechnological Commission has released an international standard for care robots, for elderly care robots. It is led by China. So, as a major developing countries, how should China and Brazil, both countries, and China also and BRICS countries coordinate on setting like technological and technical standards in many different fields, including AI and other kinds of governance?
That's a very important subject because all the countries are facing this challenge to deal with the people that have been older than ever. So we must take care of them. I thought that there are many possibilities to cooperation, like unified voice. BRICS should feel BRICS should form a tech standards task force that have been already started by China to draft common positions, example, ethical AI guidelines before engaging with ISO and IEC and other kind of regulations, international regulation, avoiding Western dominated frameworks because we must have our own guidelines. Pilot projects, we can use China's elderly care robot standard as a template for localized BRICS versions tested in Brazil, India, the healthcare system, because both Brazil and China and India has a great population, elderly population as China has. And finally, leverage new development bank, creating funds for research and development hubs in BRICS nations to prototype and certify standards locally. That's more, in my opinion, that's most important, because that's one thing when you write some standards in the paper on the paper, but it's completely different when you put this in practice. So how it's very important to prototype these solutions and see how they will perform, and then you can make the adjustment in the standard guidelines.
Okay, thank you. And previously, the BRICS countries has have agreed to like make joint research and cooperation in many different areas, including 5G, 6G, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and even quantum computing. So, how do you foresee the future collaboration between China and BRICS countries in these technologies? And what do you think? How should these countries do to like achieve a model that makes innovation-driven development with digital empowerment?
Yeah, I think there's some key innovations. For example, 6G. Sorry about that. That's
Yeah,
clock.
it's okay. It's okay.
So 6G, for example, that's a great opportunity to develop together joint satellite terrestrial networks. China's Beidou, for example, together with Brazil's Amazon connectivity gaps. So that's very important subject to integrate the technologies from China to be applied in the Amazon gaps of connectivity. AI governance shared data sets, training models for non-English language, for example, Portuguese, Mandarin, and others, which integrate the BRICS countries. Quantum technologies, China Quantum Comms, associated with South Africa and Brazil's mineral resource for hardware. That's very important to establish this connection, because Brazil and South Africa have a lot of mineral resource which can help China to develop some technologies. Cooperation model in the area of digital public goods pool, BRICS-wide open source platforms, for example, blockchain for cross-border trade, because as everybody knows, Brazil, China has a huge cooperation trade. So the blockchain would be these cooperation trends more safety for both parts. And finally, creation, I think that's very important to think about, to create innovation corridors. Link China's Shenzhen, for example, that's a very high technology city in China, with Brazil's Campinas. Campinas is a city in Brazil, and the other tech parks for co-development, intellectual property sharing, and talent swaps. So that's very important to establish this cooperation. That's why the BRICS cooperation hubs was created for. We are already doing many partnerships between China and Brazil. Just citing one example, there is a huge technological park here in Brazil that's IPT, Technological Park Innovation in the University of São Paulo, who has already established the connection, the partnership with BRICS Academy to exchange talents, to co-develop new technologies. So that's very important, because together we can go faster. Sorry, alone you can go faster, but together we can go longer. That's why it's so important, these partnerships.
Okay, and here comes my final question, a follow-up question, because uh, just like last week, U.S. president has announced a new policy called the reciprocal tariffs policy on basically all countries around the world. Um, Many people say that that policy will bring a huge impact on the global economy. But I want to ask this question: Is that technology is depends on economic cooperation because it needs money, it needs funds. So if the U.S. is imposing so much tariff on other countries, what impact will such policy bring to the world, especially in the technological cooperation? Will there be a trend of technological decoupling in in the world?
So actually, I'm not expert in this field about economicals and international trade, but I'm going to answer you as a scientist, entrepreneur, and inventor who have been working for a long, long time with universities from Brazil and other countries, from technological institutions. I think it will have a huge impact, of course, because the science, technology, innovation depends heavily from imports for example, equipment, for some supplies to be used in laboratories to develop the research. So, of course, if this tariff will impact these imports and exports of these supplies, of course, the research, technology, innovation process will be impacted negatively. I hope that this kind of supplies will not be the focus of the tariffs. If it will be, I'm quite sure it will have a negative impact on research, development, and innovation process. Unfortunately, I hope it will not gonna happen because the world needs more innovative solutions to solve the global challenges, challenges, the elderly, growing population challenges, as you just mentioned it in one of your questions. So, my opinion, I'm concerned about this, but I'm looking forward to receive good news regarding the non-negative impacts in the research, development, and innovation.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you very much for your precious time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.